After 57 years of building cars, we have this, the new Mini Countryman, the biggest car that Mini has ever built. Compared to the last Countryman, this one is longer and a little bit wider, and that means more passenger and boot space, a few more storage holes around the car, and also there's a bit more equipment included as standard. So here in the front of the car, Mini has promised more head and shoulder room. I'm 6 foot tall, and as you can see, I've got loads of space around me. The only thing that lets it down a bit is that the roof extends quite far forward. And just because of that, I feel a little bit hemmed in, and these big thick pillars don't help either. The rear doors have been made larger, which does make getting in and out a bit easier. But the big thing I want to talk about here is just the amount of space I have. Now, this front seat is still set up for me, but as you can see, I've got loads of knee room, loads of foot room, and loads of headroom. I really couldn't ask for more. Another change is that Mini say we have 3 fully fledged rear seats in the back of this car. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get 3 adults in comfortably. The person in the middle is still going to be a bit squeezed, but that's true of any other car, and this is going to be perfectly adequate for short journeys. Then there's the boot, which should have 450 litres of space with the seats up, which will include this space under the boot floor. The seats fold down in a 40-20-40 configuration, and what that really means is that the seats can fold down individually, giving you a bit more variability onto how you want to load your car. With the seats folded down, it created a flat-ish loading area, so sliding a heavy suitcase shouldn't be too much of a problem. So all of that means Mini might just have built its most practical car to date, but the question is, does it work and is it still fun to drive? There are 4 engines available from launch, 2 petrol and 2 diesel. There's also, in a first for Mini, going to be a plug-in hybrid version coming later in 2017, with some pretty ambitious fuel economy figures of 136 miles to the gallon. I'll believe it when I see it. Back to the car I'm driving today, and I've got the higher powered petrol version, or the S. Now, this generates 192 horsepower, and let me tell you, though this is a big car, it goes like the clappers when you want it to. And I'm not just talking about straight line speed. The car is just nimble and firm in the corners. You actually have the confidence to carry the speed through a corner, such on a country road like I am now. And that makes this car quite fun to drive. Now, Mini go on about their cars having a go-kart-like feel, and that's definitely true of the hatchback. Slightly less true of this larger car, but you know what? This is still nimble and it's still nippy, and I'm having a lot of fun driving it. Now, the payoff with the car feeling quite solid in the corners is that the suspension is reasonably firm. That means when you go over bumps, you will feel it. I'm also quite impressed with the noise levels in this car. True, it gets a bit loud under heavy acceleration, but once you top out at a speed, the engine falls away and there isn't that much to speak of in terms of road noise or wind noise. Perhaps the biggest barrier to owning this car is the price. Mini is a premium badge, and with that comes premium prices. Now, the Mini Countryman starts off at around £22,500 for the basic petrol. But the car I'm driving today costs just over £28,000, and that's without some of the options I have in it, such as the Chili Pack, which Mini says 3/4 of its customers will likely take up, as it includes automatic air conditioning, the Mini drive modes, sports seats, and LED headlamps. That costs another £3,000. When you add that all together, and there are many more options to choose from beyond this, you're going to spend at least £32,000 to £33,000. So I mentioned at the start of this video that I felt a little hemmed in by the sort of extended roof, but you know what, I'm quite tempted to almost take that back. I mean, I've been driving this for a while now, and actually I've got a really good command of the road ahead. The roof isn't interfering as much as I thought it might do, neither is this big pillar. Not entirely fantastic view out the back, but I've certainly been in cars with much worse. The only thing I did find is when I was on the motorway and changing lanes, this big pillar in the middle here did get in the way a bit, But what makes up for it in a way are these massive wing mirrors that I've got on the side here, these big circular things. I feel I can see more of the side of the car than I normally would do. All petrol options come with either two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, and most of them come with either manual or automatic transmission. The downside of having all that power in the car is that you will have higher fuel bills. The car I'm in today has an official fuel economy of 44 miles to the gallon. Admittedly, the lower powered diesel does get in the mid-60s, but those are the official claims. Our fuel tests are more realistic, so we're not going to know this car's true fuel economy until we get it into our lab at a later date. So yes, it's off-puttingly expensive, but with so much interior space, I really think this is the most practical Mini on our roads yet. And yet it's still fun to drive in every way a Mini should be. I mean, yes, we'll have to wait for our lab test to find out how good or not it really is. But from my drive today, I think this is a fantastic car.